甚至有人有12个小时在工作。
And we are encouraged by health wealth gurus that we have to spend at least 1 to 2 hours for ourselves, maybe to make ourselves healthy, well, and wealthy.
有人说我们为我们的健康，我们应该用1/4的时间来为我们健康着想。
But how much time do we spend for God?
你用了多少的时间为神来做呢？
We can talk about many, many things.
我们可以讲到许许多多的事。
But when Jesus was talking to the young ruler, he was talking about his value system.
耶稣基督对那个年轻的官员所讲的，就是他的价值观。
God put a high value on you. The question that we have to ask our hearts today is, how much value do we put on that blood that was shed for us?
神给我们耶稣基督的生命，他的血为我们流，那我们把这个宝血的代价看值得多少呢？
During the North and South Korean War, there was a pastor named Kim. That's a very common Korean name.
在韩国的南北韩战争的时候，有一个传道人，他的姓是金牧师。
He lived in a very small town in Korea, and the North Koreans were able to basically surround the town.
他所居住的是一个小的乡村，有一次北韩的军队就包围着那个乡村。
When they came to his town, they killed his wife, they killed his parents, they killed all his children.
当北韩的军队进入那个乡村的时候，他就把他的父母杀掉，把他的妻子也杀掉，把他所有的孩子统统杀掉。
They tried to kill him. However, he looked dead. That's why they left him alone.
他们也想要杀他，但是他就装死。
Years later,
好几年以后，
they caught these North Korean torture people.
他们抓到这些凶残的北韩兵，
They were put in court and sentenced to die.
他们把他在那个法院审判他们，要判他们死刑。
When Pastor Kim was asked to stand in front and see these people face to face,
当这个基牧师被带到法院要来认这些人，
these were the words that he said. What would you say to this man right now? Sorry, I'll finish it. So this is what he said. They were forced to kill. I forgive them.
对着那些北韩的兵丁，他这样讲说，他们是被命令来杀我的家人，我愿意饶恕他们。
He knew that the value of life is important.
他知道生命是这样的无价。
He knew that the value of his family is important.
他知道他家人的生命也是很可贵。
But he knew also that the value of those men who killed his family were important.
他也知道这些杀害他家人的这些兵丁，他们的生命也很可贵。
Because of this event, after these people who were tortured people were released from prison, there was a revival in that small town in South Korea. And because of that, because of this man's willingness to forgive, a church was born in this small town.
当这些被害人聆听被释放以后，这个小的乡村的教会就有一个很大的不幸，就是因为这个牧师能够饶恕这些兵丁。
Souls were forgiven, lives were saved, because this pastor was willing to see that lives of people were important. Although his family was so precious to him, he knew and was seeing from the eyes of God.
教会的不幸，就是因为这个牧师能够摒弃忍耐他的家人对这些人所杀的痛苦，而愿意原谅他们，看到这些人生命的可贵。
Let me remind you, whatever you do every single day, remind yourself, what is the value of what I'm doing.
当你每天的生活的时候，你要想到说，你所做的是不是有价值？
Does this give value to the precious blood of Jesus Christ?
你做的是不是对耶稣给你的饶恕你，通过耶稣的宝血饶恕你，能够有相当的回报？
We as a generation today talk about the relativeness of the value of life.
我们在这个时代常常讲到说，我们的生命是怎么样的一个情况？
Because we have developed a callous heart that we do not recognize whether right is wrong or wrong is right.
我们
So we're confused.
我们的良心常常有一个征战对的是不是对，错的是不是错？常常我们会错跟对之间认为错的就是对，对的就是错，这样的一个温扰。
For the past 20 minutes, I have tried to convince you that God sets a value on your life, and that value is high. And you should live a life that's pleasing to Him, that is equivalent to the preciousness of His love.
在刚刚20分钟之间，我一直想要预备你能够知道说，你是不是应该为耶稣基督来活，你的生命的价值是不是能够来对耶稣为我们死流出宝血的代价做一个回报。
Let's move to the next verse. He indeed was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was made manifest in these last days for you.
基督在创世以前是预先被神知道，却在这末世才为你们显现。
Number 2 point that I want to make, just number 2, after 20 minutes, is that stop believing that you are an accident. Stop believing that you are an accident.
请你不要相信说你生在这个世界是一个偶然的机会。
Stop believing that there was a big bang that happened and created all this earth.
你不要以为说这个世界是有一个大爆炸而成这个宇宙。
Stop believing that you were made from nowhere, and stop believing that you were an ape many years ago.
也不要相信说人类是一下子就出现。
Stop and begin to believe that there was a plan when you were born. It was made even before you were born, many, many years ago, in the beginning of time.
对你是有一个计划的，在你还没有出生之前，在好久好久以前，神这个计划已经在那里。
This plan was made when God began, not when you were born.
这个计划是在上古时代，神还没有造天地之前，已经有了这个计划。
It was God's plan that His Son should die for you and I.
这个计划也是早就预备，说他的独生子要来到这个世界来为你生，也为你死。
Let me give a clear example about what we have been trying to do, trying to understand who we are.
那我们再一次来看看，我们是不是知道我们的处境是什么？我们到底是怎么样来的？
Who likes to drink cream of soup here? I hope you don't get hungry, so you get out of here too early.
你是不是喜欢喝
cream soup, yeah, cream noodle soup or Chinese
你是不
noodles.
是喜欢喝汤浓汤？
So just very important that there's cream on that soup. But it's a story of two frogs. There were two frogs and accidentally they fell on the cream of soup. You don't like that, but two frogs fell on the cream of soup.
有两个苍蝇掉在这个浓汤里头去了，
You will lose your appetite
你就大
if
概
you don't eat frogs.
你大概就不想吃了。
So the biggest predicament of these two frogs was how to get out, right?
对，这两只苍蝇来讲的话，但是想说它怎么样能够跑掉。
Frog number one said, I'll keep trying to swim up, but I know every time I try to swim out of the cream of soup, I keep sinking each time.
有一个苍蝇说，我就想要游上来，但是每一次我想着要游上来的时候，就那个浓汤就把我又拖下去。
The second frog thought about another idea.
第二个苍蝇有另外一个想法，
His idea was not to get out of the soup, but keep going around the soup.
他不是想说要飞上去，而是他就在那里绕圈子。
And as you know, when you steer, if you drink soup, right? If you steer the soup, it becomes less sticky. The particles goes down, right?
但我们知道，你浓汤你假如搅动的话，那个比较重的就会往下面掉。
So lo and behold, this frog was moving around, and as the soup was getting thinner and thinner, he was able to jump out of the soup.
所以这个聪明的苍蝇就在那绕到最后，这个汤就变成比较稀薄，那它就可以跑出来。
What I'm trying to say here
我在这里是想指出一点，
is you can be the first frog trying to plan your way out the regular way, the human way.
你可以像那个第一个苍蝇，要用我们人的力量来逃过这一劫。
But you never knew about the second way, which is a better way.
但是有第二个方法，你却没有想到的，
Which is actually not the better way, the best way, because you can get out of the soup.
因为你要逃离这个浓汤。
We often plan that our life should go this direction.
我们常常计划我们的生命的目标是往这边走。
We plan to marry this person,
我们想要跟这个人结婚，
but eventually we got married to a different person.
但是很多时候，你结婚的对象是不一样。
We plan to go to this school,
我们想要到这个学校去，
but we did not meet the bar to get into that school. We got accepted in a different school.
但是我们达不到那个学校的门槛，所以结果我们就到了另外一个学校去。
We planned to buy this house, but the mortgage didn't go through, and we end up buying another house.
我们想要这个豪宅，但是我们却借不到贷款，所以我们就只好退而求其次，找到另外一个房子。
Let me go to the bottom line. It's Thanksgiving, so you go shopping.
现在差不多快了，到了感恩节的时候，你去购物，
Favorite word for women.
特别是姐妹们，
You basically want to shop this clothing, but it was too expensive, so you end up even finding a better one.
你看到一个衣服好像很漂亮，你很喜欢，但是结果知道那个太贵了，所以你就找到另外一个更好的。
What I'm trying to give you examples for is to make you realize that somebody already has a plan for you, and that plan has been settled since the beginning of time.
我们每个人，神都有一个计划，而这个计划是早在创世之前就已经设立的。
But we refuse to believe. We refuse to ask. We refuse to go to God to help us. We have our own plans. We want to plan. We only ask God when we're